This week's episode was amazing. Like, if I could describe it, it's like the roller coaster that you weren't exactly expecting any of the climactic themes to hit. It's going great, and then it dips, and it's going great, and then it dips. And like, not in a bad way, just in like an emotional roller coaster. It did so much for me, and I think that obviously this is right past the halfway point. We just finished episode 7 here. I'm really oh my gosh, this better get a third season. Granted, I don't know how far this goes compared to the manga, so it's really hard to say. However, the way it is going, this is not that it wasn't kind of beforehand, but this is turning out to be one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. And that makes me so happy. So, with that being said, let's talk about this episode, then we'll get to some other things at the end of it. But this episode starts off with Senpai in his room, and we can't really quite tell what's going on, although he is bent over his desk, kind of groaning, and he's not wearing his glasses, so we can kind of assume, but we can't at this point, so I'm just gonna, let it ride the lightning here. His mom calls him for dinner, and he says he'll be right there. And we get to school the next day, and him and Nagatoro are in the art room. And we do kind of instantly find out that he bought contacts because he just wants to try them out because he's getting sick of the blinding of glasses in the perimeter, which that's a personal thing. I totally understand that because fuck glasses. I hate them. I wear glasses is the worst. However, I hate contacts, so I can kind of understand where he's coming from. However, Nagatoro gets pretty excited about this thing. And he's like, I don't need to wear them. It's fine. But Nagatoro 100% insists. And we get, honestly, some of the best, facial shot expressions in this episode that they've ever done. And it's such a well-rounded episode for that. But she tells him that she used to do it for her brother all the time. We finally get not a name drop necessarily, but the fact that she has a brother, we finally get that dropped out, which is kind of cool. And who knows if we'll meet him this season or not. But she says that she used to put him in for her brother all the time. So Senpai's kind of hesitant at first because he's like, oh my god, Nagatoro's gonna poke my fucking eyeballs out. However, he does end up giving in and letting her put them in for him. And I never really thought that putting contacts in could be so sexual. However, the way they interpret this is some of the most lewd shit ever. So she's got her thigh and calf all up on his. And at first he's telling her to stop. And it's just this huge comical scene, and then so he's like, okay, whatever, and she's like, are you ready? And she's like, I'm putting it in. And it's so funny. And she puts it in, and he's like, oh, and his eyes are watering, and of course he's at first he's like, oh my gosh, and he's already saying don't say I'm putting it in because that's just weird. However, obviously he liked it and he very much enjoyed it. So we get to see him without glasses for the first time, which is a really weird thing because obviously we're not used to that, and it just looks so different. He almost looks like a different character in general, which is also true with people with glasses that don't wear glasses at the time. And Nagatoro ends up putting on Senpai's glasses, and she looks extremely cute in those glasses, extremely cute. And of course that's probably his thing too, because he gets flustered about it. And she makes fun of the fact that he does the glasses thing where he pushes them in whenever he's nervous or worked up or lying or anything. And of course, he tries doing it without the glasses, ha ha ha, but it is pretty great. And from there we go to the ski resort, because apparently it must be a school trip, I would assume. And we see Senpai actually with 2 other classmates that we've never met before, at all. And I'm assuming they're both it's kind of the group that doesn't have any friends, so they kind of stick with each other as friends. One of those type of deals. And they're looking at, Sakura and Yoshi and Nagatoro and the gang, and they're like, oh, there's those popular girls, they're good. And those guys are like, we've been going for 2 years and we suck dick. Let's be quite fair. And right as that happens, Nagatoro comes up to Senpai, and those two just look astonished at some popular girls talking to him. However, he rides with Nagatoro because it's Nagatoro, and the boys don't give a shit. And may I add, Nagatoro's got this nice, cute cat ear hat with these mittens that have the cat palms. Oh my god. Absolutely adorable. So she's trying to train Senpai on how to ski. And like I said earlier in the episode, or in the review, we do get a lot of really cool shots. You'll notice throughout this video, normally I take like 20 some shots of the stills from the episodes and put them in here. But I have a lot this episode, and it was really hard to condense down because there were so many good artistic views from this episode. But we get done for the day, and Nagatoro actually taught Senpai quite a bit, like how to stop decently. He went from like a rank F adventure to like a rank D in the isekai adventure fantasy realm. And right after that, we get back to the hotel or lodge, whatever the heck they're staying at, and she's pretty much telling Senpai, they're doing a night ski and she wants him to come with, and he's trying to make excuses because a little bit before this, we get to see her friends coming down while they're teaching him, and he feels really guilty because they're like the greatest skiers, and especially Nagatoro, she's like the greatest of the class. And he feels bad about it because he wants her to enjoy her time there. But she invites him, and he's like, no, you go on ahead. And of course, you could tell she's disappointed. Which, understandably so. I mean, she's got a crush on him, and she likes him. It's just a given. So Yoshi and Maki are coming down, and they're like, oh, so you're not going skiing, Senpai? And he's like, no, I don't want to hold her back. And they're like, well, that's true, but that's not really the point, is it? They clearly know, like I've said all season long, they are trying to hook these two up because they know Nagatoro loves him and he loves her, but she's one of those, she's like a cat. She just walks around the situation, and he's just like a slug. He just kind of trails along. So he ends up going out, and he's just practicing and, trying to do the lessons that Nagatoro taught him so he can get a little better, so he can keep up with her, which is a really sweet sentiment. And while that's going down, this kid's coming flying. He's flying down this hill, and he can't stop. And Senpai chases him down and grabs him by the hips and stops him seconds before he's going to hit this tree. And I'm pretty sure it's a dad, because he looks like twice the guy's height, comes and thanks him. And it's a really good moment. So Senpai's going down the hill a little further, keep practicing. And there's these two, I'd say teenagers just being dumbasses, as teenage boys are, showing off their skiing tricks on their Snapchats and their TikToks and all that fun stuff. And they're going to run right into Senpai, right into his back. And he's freaking out, not knowing what to do. And what happens? Nagatoro comes on a snowboard now, and she scoops him up and saves his ass. And this still right here, that is probably my favorite from this scene, emotionally, artistically, and everything shows how Nagatoro is completely feeling, with the fact that she tells these two guys to watch where they're going, and she's got this evil grimacing look in the tone of her voice, and everything really pushes what's going on. And those two boys skedaddle down the hill, and of course Senpai's like, how do you know? What happened? How did you know? And she's like, oh, of course I knew it was you. You were all wobbly like a drunk driver. And it does a nice cat art with her, and she's got the cat. Oh, it's absolutely adorable. So she's trying to train him a little more, and we get another beautiful artistic scene of her teaching him how to, do it. And she's like, you look at your feet too much. You need to watch me for now. And we get this lighting aurora bubbles with her face slightly lit, and it is just adorable, because for a fact that's how he sees her in every vision, and it's so much to take in. But Senpai's with his classmates again, and Nagatoro's up on the hill with Sakura and Yoshi and Maki. And she's like, yeah, I taught him quite a bit. Just watch what he can do now. And so he's like, teach him a little bit. So he goes down the hill within like 10 feet, crashes right into the snowbank again, and all the girls are laughing, and Nagatoro just looks completely disappointed. It's so great. So the ski trip's over, they're back at school, and the principal's there, and she's like, well, I got accepted into art college. And she asks Paizen, you know, what do you plan on doing after? Because you're getting close now. And he tells her right away he plans to go to art school too. And she even like comments that she never thought she'd hear him say such a positive instant thing. And it's obvious that Nagatoro, after a full year now, has influenced him more than anything, just as a human being, because they do say your personality comes from the 5 people or whatever you hang out with in your circle. And he really thinks about it, and he's like, maybe that is true. But at the same time, he gets this like mindset at the very end where, he's like, I actually don't know what Nagatoro wants to do when she gets out of school, what she wants to do for work, where she wants to do, like go to school. He doesn't know anything. And that's the end of the episode. So I feel like I said, I haven't read like the furthest chapters or anything like that. I've only read some parts of this manga. I have a feeling, I don't know for sure because I'm no ace. I make predictions and they're only right like half the time. But I feel like the next few episodes are going to be kind of him just trying to figure out more about her personally. And I mean, this whole season really has kind of been that, though. I mean, he learned her first name, Hayase. He's gone to her house. She's gone to his house. They've taken care of each other's sick. They've done activities together. They've gone out and done just a bunch of things. I really do think this season is going to bring us... I don't know if they're dating in the manga yet or anything, but I feel like it's going to bring us close, because I think it's going to go past his graduation eventually here, and I hope that it continues on to at least, a point where we're satisfied if we don't get a season 3. I really hope we do, because this show is absolutely one of my favorites of all time, and it just brings me so much joy. Artistically, story-wise, plot points, so much. And it's actually kind of funny, because my friend actually brought up the other week about, because we just watched If My Idol Made to the Budokan live action, which I should do a review on soon because it was actually really good. But he's like, Nagatoro would be such an easy live action to do and it'd be great. And I said, would it though? Because sure, you've just got some characters doing things, like just basic, almost slice of life romance things. However, with the fact that you've got so much based on like the character, like snarks and reactions and the animations and the cat things, there's so much that you can only do in animation that it's the perfect medium for this series, and I love it to death. So with that being said, I'm gonna stop ranting now and raving and end this episode. So if you've made it this long, I thank you very much. If you could leave a like if you enjoyed, that'd be awesome. If you didn't, well, thanks for staying this long. And if you could subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. I'm not the greatest, but it'd be pretty freaking cool. I'm almost close to that first 100 goal. I've got 2 subs left. And then after that, we're going to do that Demon Slayer review, and I'm going to hate my life. So yeah, with that being all the way, I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.